Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmas, Imi Merasi Ruspas Mordechai, live from Miami, Knicks, the famous Knicks show. Tomorrow, by the way, we're going to have Shir right here, live at 8:30 p.m. in the main base Medrash. This is in the smaller, this was the last minute deal, so we only have about 10 people. But Be'ezer Hashem, tomorrow in the main base Medrash. A couple of emails before we start the shir. This is from Penny Rapp. I don't know if you heard this one before. I wanted to tell you that your Daf Yomi shir made my learning easier to understand each sugi because of your Givaldic fascinating diagrams and the videos. Every time I watch Daf Yomi shir on an app called All Daf from the OU, which I listen to your recording almost every day for the past 2 years. Shkoch kol kavod. Hashem give you koiches to continue giving the daf every day. Admei v'esm shana, Penny Rapp, Riverdale, then you just moved to the 5 towns. I already said this. This is Givaldic. Critical, to be honest, at gmail.com. Subject, it is a lav in Torah, you've got to be kidding. Rebelli, I have so much to write in response, I yet will note the brief version. As the saying goes, you've got to be kidding. You're talking whatever the word is, Yashan, of the Torah says, it's a lav in the Torah, a derisive prohibition, and even a derabbanon, go tell everybody. So in brief, there are so many poskim, rishonim, achroinim, including the famous psak of the Gra, whom hold that the clean shaven with any shaver is not 1 or 2, rather 5 lavim, and that happens every time one does so. Of course, not even contrasting to the significance of the full Beret Tzelem Elikim, which is spoken of enormous significance in the Zohar. Even in contrast to trimming or similar, whereby these lavin do not apply, 5 lavin. May even see what Reb Aaron had to say on this despicable conduct. See what the Stipler and his holy son, Reb Chaim, said of this Hanoga Mufkeres, our Chazan Ish, etc., and of course many more. Would add, B'chlal, does the appearance regarding the side brims payas? Does the look need to be looking mamish like a goy, without even leaving a bit? And no, I'm not talking about, I don't know, maybe he's talking about this, not even a bit. What is he talking? Not even a bit. And no, I'm not talking of the yeshivish look, even the cool yet religious look, etc. Which if you follow halacha, the whole idea of Bal Takifu is about the looks like the goy, which unfortunately you're so makbid that it should have that look. This email is l'shtika more complicated than yesterday's daf. Would of course add as the idea here should ultimately be l'takin. Belly, time to stop, around and simply do tshuva. Will of course conclude kol koilachoi and great, or better yet, greatest accomplishment, to say the least, with MDY, etc. So my point was not to say and tell people, oh, you're over Issa Deraisa. My point was to say that people should understand where Yashan and Chodesh come from. I wanted to make an awareness that it starts from a pasuk in the Torah, and then you have the Tanaim of the Gemara, you have Rishonim. Some say that it's a Issa Deraisa Bizman Hazeh, some say it's a Derabbanan, and there's some whom are Mekel. But I want there to be awareness, because when I spoke to the people in the airport, and I went around and I speak to people, and they don't know that it's a pasuk in the Torah. That's my point. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying you're being over the raisas. I'm not saying you're over the rabbanot. I'm saying go, what I told people to do is I said go in shul and to ask people what is Yashan Chadash. Mr. Belsi, did you ask anybody? Why not? Why not? Ask. Did you? Not today. You got to ask people. Do you know what Yashan and Chadash is? How did they follow it today? There's no flowers made in big factories. How do we know? No. There's ways to know, but that's not the point. Don't follow it. Just know that it's a pasuk in the Torah, and that what just happened. Oh no, that's nothing. Okay, fine. Next. For about 8 years now, I've had the privilege of learning Daf Yomi, and I was even Zocher to complete Shas. The reason I was introduced to Yeshir And since then, I've become addicted to the atmosphere and the geschmack that you bring into learning. I don't miss a single shir. To the wonderful shir. I'm writing to share my story because I believe it could be beneficial. As a child, I struggled with my learning. I couldn't understand Gemara, and I didn't even have the motivation or ability to sit and learn. In yeshiva, no one wanted to be mechavrusa, and that's how I eventually got married. After a year or two, someone convinced me to try attending a Daf Yomi shir, starting from the very first Daf of Maseches Makos. From that point until today, I've been learning the Daf. Daf Yomi changed my life. I began learning more and more. Now, this email is not about MDY changing his life. It's Daf Yomi in general changing his life, because I don't think he was with the MDY that long. I'm learning more and more, and today, Baruch Hashem, I learned 2-3 dafim a day in addition to Daf Yomi, as well as Mishabura and Mishnayos. It is of interest. If it's of interest, I have a moving video of him doing Sima Shas. I was imagining seeing the schos of a yid. Listen to this: the schos of a yid who invested a phone call in me and convinced me to try Daf Yomi. So that guy that convinced him, and that's what we all could do, is convince another yid to learn Torah. That guy, look at the schosim, look how proud he is of himself, of his accomplishments, and he finished Shas. Thanks to him, I completed Shas and continue onward. Okay, best regards, David Lapidot. This was in the shir today, just in the Beis Medrash, showing the shir. This was in Ramah Daled. It's in Bet Shemesh. We're in Ramah Aleph. This is Ramah Daled. Oh, you guys didn't see this one because this is in Hebrew. That's the guy that runs it. Oh, in Neve Yaakov, that's our satellite location in Neve Yaakov. And this guy in the center is Moshe Cohen. He's the one who sponsors the Bnei Brak satellite location, pays for it with his own money. He rents a very nice office space. These are the 34 locations. I don't know, I didn't count them now. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. It's right around 34, 33 locations all over Israel. Let's count it real quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 27. Wow. We dropped. Official edition of MDY Shas, Masechta, by the Irani and Levi families, Perek, Hadar Weiss, L'chvod Yishayahu ben Shmuel Yehuda Waldman, for his unbelievable translation of multiple prakim. You like that word? Daf Ayin Beis Anonymous, for our dear Zaidi Shelley, Shlomo Yaakov ben Yitzchak. He was so engrossed in each daf, he even missed a flight. That's cool. How did you miss the flight? I missed one flight in my entire life because I was so engrossed in the daf. By David Salomon, who organizes this location every day, including this setup right here today, and this beautiful screen behind me, which he donated. Reb Shmuel Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiv, Zichron Levracha. Joel Gedalis, name is my father, Jack Gedalis, Anonymous, Tzlach Baruch Nizuv Gashmis, the Palchik family, Foundation, Zichron Shmas Rav Goyin, Reb Shlomo Palchik, the Meshach Ilui. Anonymous for Shleima Lamoshe ben Izav. Anonymous for a complete refor Shleima and Arichas Yom to Leah Bas Esther, Yisrael Malki Toviteres Picham Alfi Zav Chesav. We're so proud of you, Yaakov Mordechai. Keep steiging. Send the Grossen family, Canvey Island, UK, in honor of Rebelli, who changed my meaning of life. Plenty Almighty, Mark and Benny, and all the Iskim B'tzarchem Diwaya, Kosh Baruch Hu Shalom Scharam. Ari Simon, the monthly sponsors, L'for Shleima Avi Mari, Baruch Ben Miriam. Anonymous for the merit of Michal Ben Sarah, Rachel Bas Sarah, blessings in all ears of life. For Kavichi family. L'zeicha Nishmas, our dear cousin, Reb Simcha Lauer, may his neshama have an aliyah. Daily sponsors, Meir and Chaya Rivka Fischel, in honor of Shimon Fischel and Toby Deutsch's wedding tonight. Big simcha. I was at the Vart, and I want to wish a hearty mazel tov to Meir and all his mishpacha. There are, you know what? Everybody in this room who's using a Meir Fischel edition Gemara, please raise it up in the air. I'm going to turn the cameras around. Hold on. Anybody that's using the Gemara, I didn't even know that he's doing this. Who else is using the Gemara? Kitzer, everybody. Higher. I don't see it. Higher. Gevaldik. Kitzer, every single person in this room is using that Gemara. So thank you, Meir, and you should have a lot of nachas from this chassan and his kala and all your children and grandchildren. Admei v'esrim. Ari Mek, in celebration of Ari Mek's wedding, 5:45 p.m. is dancing at Terrace Gendel, Monsey, New York. I guess he's inviting the Olam. Simeon Chigger, L'nishmas harav Yaakov Aryeh Leib ben Harav Moshe Jacob Shiger. How do you pronounce it? Shiger, on his yard site. Zalman Twersky, in honor of the wedding of Meyer and Miriel Twersky, Pshatova Umutzlachas. I think I know who Zalman Twersky is. Big. I'm pretty sure that's our Rav. Maybe not. If I make a mistake, I apologize. But Reb Chaim Twersky from Chicago, I think, son. Sprinzin Allen Gross, for the yard side of our grandfather, Yidishmas Tzvi Hirsch Ben Yaman Isaac Zichron Levracha, Yudah Sigler, in honor of Aiden Sigler, to celebrating 1 year of Daf Yomi without missing a daf. Amazing. And the way art month, Rufu Shtema Yonatan Eitan Ben B'Sheva Bracha, Rufu Shtema Mordechai Ben Esther, Rufuas Hayeled Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther Aboisai. Here we go. We're holding on the top of Daf Ayin Beis Amud Aleph, which is a very, very important daf for me personally. We're holding 2 lines in. Koitzrin mipnei hanetiyos umipnei beis ha'evel umipnei beis hamedrash. The halacha is, we learned, that you should not harvest wheat, barley, the chamesh saminim before you bring the karban, the minchas omer, which is on the 2nd day of Pesach. Why not? Because it's an iser deraisa to eat the new crop in Eretz Yisrael, at least. And we don't want people touching the new crop because they might eat it unless the karban was already brought. So I want to pause here and tell you a crazy story that happened to me 22 years ago, maybe close to 22 plus years ago, in 2003. How many years ago is it? December 17th, 2003. So about 22 plus years ago. I was minding my own business. I was walking around in Chicago, and my brother-in-law's father came over to me, and he asked me if I could step in and start giving a Daf Yomi shir. And I said yes. And the first daf that I gave was Menachos, Daf Ayin Beis, today's daf. So it's a special daf for me. It was the time I said yes. It was in the middle of a Masechta, Menachos. It was in the middle of Kachim. I didn't know what's flying in Kachim. It's in the middle of a Perek. There's not even a Mishnah here, if you look. We just started learning. And that lasted for about 8 years. Yes, I had my ups and my downs over there. You know, sometimes I was away, and et cetera, et cetera. I wasn't as consistent back then as I am today. But he gave me that opportunity. He's the one that started me on this amazing thing called Daf Yomi. And I owe Rani Shabbat a tremendous Akar Satay for asking me to say the daf then. All right. I think I mentioned this point back when I made a Sima Shas, you know, when I got to Daf Ayin Beis in Menachos the first time around. And that is, I said over the story where I went to the Kotel for 40 days. And I was newly married and I didn't know what to daven for. I was like, what am I going to daven for? Like, everything's good. I just got married. I don't have children. It's like, I'm not worrying about Parnasa. My father-in-law was giving us, you know, that stipend in the beginning. He was living in Arzia Bira, just living the life. Like, what am I going to ask for right now? You know, and I started thinking, I said, you know, I got to pick something that if it comes true, I know it's because of the Kaisel. I know it's because of the 40 days. Like, okay, if I ask for $1 million, this, you know, maybe it's but something interesting, different. And I didn't tell anybody until that siyum I made on Menachos, Daf Ayin Beis, siyum shas. And I never told my wife what I asked for, because that was part of the deal. Like, you go to the country, you don't tell people. You know, it's for me to keep a secret. You know, people know. If you want everybody to know about something, you tell me. And especially if you tell me it's a secret, you tell me it's an anonymous secret. Wow. And what I asked for is that I should be able to finish Shas as a Magid Shir. And you know, I believe it's a nace, open nace nigla, just like the missiles coming in from Iran and getting shot out of the air. That's also an ace nigla in a way, and this for me is an ace nigla. So, but what's interesting is who started me off on this path. I used to go to the Kotel. The idea came together with my brother-in-law, Nachi Shabbat. And Nachi, my brother-in-law, and myself would go every single day together. We'd go to the Kotel. Every day at the same time. Because you got to go at the same time. And on Shabbos, you have to be there. Let's say it was 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night. We were there. We were there Erev Shabbos and Motzei Shabbos. Like, we were there. It was on Shabbos. So it was like 7 o'clock, let's say. We have to be there at 7 o'clock. And we did the 40 days together. But who's the one that comes to me and asks me to start Shas and do Shas? His father. I thought it was very interesting. That's how it was years later, 10, 15 years later, he asked me. Zok the Gemara, my time, what is the reason that you're permitted to cut the wheat in certain circumstances? And all three circumstances, or 2 out of the 3, are definitely for a mitzvah. The mitzvah of being Menachem Aval, or the mitzvah of Beis Medrash. Here we actually have a video of Beis Medrash. If you know in Eretz Yisrael, those bags, you have to have one of those bags if you were yeshivish.
Why are you sitting here doing nothing? Why not come with me
There's
to a
the big white hat.
You'll even get paid for it.
We get paid for it? Cool.
I'm sorry. The list is full, but there's no way to sign you up.
מעל 3 לא ימיחו ביודום, ואלו שלא ימיחו ביודום, מרכיבים את כל היום.
You're actually going to pay us? I want to buy an electric bike.
Yeah, of course I'll pay you. 1 hour of learning without a Tani Dibur is 7 shekels, and with a Tani Dibur, it's 9 shekels.
That's exactly what they pay these kids. That's literally what they pay them. 7 shekel an hour. But if you don't talk the whole Seder, then you get extra 2 shekel. Yeah. Okay. Basically, I don't know which one of our artists, because now Baruch Hashem we have 5 artists. I don't know which one has trauma from Yeshiva's Ben Azmanim, but he does. He's letting it out here. Okay. They don't have that in America, huh? Oh, it's like $100 an hour. You don't want to learn, but I'll give you $70. $70. I can mow the lawn for $70. What do you got? $100 I'll come. For $100 I'll come. Huh? Is that how much you get? You're a kid. How much money do I have to pay you to learn for an hour here? $12 a night. That's what they give over here?
5 days in a row, 75.
5 days in a row for 1 hour. 5 days in a row, $75 a week. That's like you could do 2 full yeshivas ben azmanims in Eretz Yisrael for $75. You get 100 kids to learn for $75. Are you joking? $12 an hour. That's pretty good. So what is that in shekel? That's 40 shekel an hour. That's a lot of money in Eretz Yisrael. Wow. That's more than a koil guy, like a married guy gets. Fine. Zog the Gemara. Oh, so I'm sorry. I didn't even say the reason. My timer. It says in the pasuk, when you're cutting for yourself, you're harvesting for yourself, that's asur. But if you're going to do it for a mitzvah, that's permitted to do before the Omer. This is easier stuff today. So you're not permitted to tie the. Is that our TV? It doesn't make sense. It's just the noise. You hear that loud? Really? It's loud. Okay. So we take a bundle. You're not allowed to tie the bundle, but you're allowed to have a bundle. Why? The less that you're dealing with this, we allow you to harvest it. Why? Because there's a hefsid, because there's a whatever it is, but don't tie it. The mitzvah is to bring, it says in the Mishnah, to bring from the standing wheat, meaning that it's attached to the ground. Here, Mefurish in the pasuk, Shiva Shavuos Tisbalach Mehachal Cherbesh Bakama. What does it mean? So physically, it means that it's attached to the ground versus detached from the ground. But also, it means that when you harvest it, you say, "I'm harvesting this for a mitzvah." There's a certain component of the Shema over here. I'm harvesting it so I can bring the Minchas Ha'omer. Torah Banan V'im Takriv Minchas Bikurim. By the way, this is one of the only times in the Torah that the word V'im, what is it? How do you translate the word V'im in English? And if. The truth is, over here, it's not if. You must. It's a must. It's one of the only times in the Torah. There's 3-4 times in the Torah that im means you must, not if you. If means it's dependent on you. You decide. No, you're not decide. By the way, it's Parshas Shavua, basically. This is Vayikra. Again, to remind the Olam that when you listen to the Parsha this week, pay good attention, more than usual, because you're going to see psukim. If you do pay attention, these psukim will pop up at you. They'll like, wow, I just learned that. I know what that means. It's another mincha. It's a type of a this, because a lot of menachos are in this week's Parsha coming up as well. So let me explain the question by showing you this chart. It says in the pasuk, "V'im takriv minchas bikurim l'Hashem, aviv koli be'eish, geres karmel takriv eis minchas bikurecha." What do you guys see in this pasuk right now? A double lashon. There's an extra word takriv here. If it would have said takriv once, it would have been fine. Why twice? We're going to learn a big yisoid from this word. That there's the lechatchila way to do something. In the first place, you're supposed to do it as so. But if you don't have the lechatchila, then you do it b'di'evet. You do it after the fact. Meaning, you should harvest the grain as it's attached to the ground. In other words, do it l'shma, do it for l'shem mitzvahs oimer. How do you know if you don't have anything attached to the ground? You could take it from something that was already detached. Tamad loymar takriv. We'll see what it means. In other words, okay, just bring it. Whatever you have, we'll take whatever you got. Davar acher, another pshat, takriv lefisha mitzvah min alach. We learned, and I'll show you again to remind everybody, there's a mitzvah that the grain should be moist. Lach, moist. Rachmo, caramel. Rachmo. It says in the pasuk caramel. It's a nutrition. It's a way to understand the word. You divide the word in two. It's soft and it's like it's flour. And if you don't have a choice, there's nothing moist around, everything is dried up, bring the dry. Again, the word takriv. Another pshat, it's the best way to do it is to go reap and harvest the wheat at night. Right after Havdalah, first thing you could do, so it's tmimos, it's full night. Full weeks of, from week to week, from Matzei Shabbos to Matzei Shabbos, Sunday to Sunday, whatever it is, full weeks. And if you can't do it at night, you couldn't find anything, you did it during the day, it's okay. And that's a big machlokes that we're going to see right now, that we're saying that you're allowed to harvest during the day. V'doiches Shabbos, it pushes off Shabbos. What pushes off Shabbos? So the Gemara is going to say, at least according to Rebbe, V'doiches Shabbos is referring to bringing it as a carbon, not all the reaping and everything else, not the harvesting, not the tractor. You can't run a tractor on Shabbos, but you could bring it on the Mizbeach on Shabbos. How do you know this? Again, from the word takriv. Takriv kol shehu. Takriv means anyway, just give it to me. Even though it's not kama, even though it's not night, takriv. Takriv mikol malkim. Takriv va'afilu b'Shabbos. Takriv va'afilu b'tumah. Our editor, Kobe Goldschmidt, he wrote to me about this Gemara to bring up the point which we discuss a lot. And the Gemara is bringing out the point of don't be a perfectionist. A lot of us are perfectionists. I know I am in general, I'm a perfectionist. And It's good in a lot of ways, so you have the nicer stuff, you this, I'm very makbid on we have a lot of good artists, etc. But perfectionism kills Yiddishkeit in a lot of ways. And that's what the Gemara here is saying. Hashem wants you to bring it at night, to harvest it when it's attached to the ground. It should be moist, blah, 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 blah. But one can say to himself, listen, I'm Tomei, like the Gemara says. Vafilu b'tuma, vafilu b'shabbos takir, vafilu b'tuma. A person says, I'm a Tomei person. You know what I did today? You know what Avera I did today? You know what a thought I had today? I got to do the whole daf from beginning to end. And Hashem says, no. Yes, I'd rather you be tahar, I'd rather you do the whole thing, I'd rather you sit and concentrate and everything. But if you don't have the whole thing, give me whatever you can, and I'm going to be happy with that also. Give me the yavish, give me the dried out, the whatever it is, the day, not the night, the detached, whatever it is, just give me. I want that. You know why? Because learning Torah is a connection with the Rebbeinu Shalom. I connect to Hashem through the Torah. So imagine if you have a child and you said to yourself, well, I planned this whole outing with this child. I was going to go out to a nice restaurant with my child. I was going to do a one-on-one. We're going to have plate together, and we're going to go afterwards and have pizza together. Oops, I missed it. I came home late. So that's why I'm not going to talk to my child tonight. That doesn't make sense. So you're going to have a 1-minute conversation with the child. At least you got something. So that's the whole nekuda here. So you didn't have a whole daf, but at least you learned 2 minutes of Torah. Don't put down the 2 minutes of Torah when you're on your treadmill and you're jogging. If that's what you have, that's what you have. That's also good. It's better than not doing anything. Don't be a perfectionist. Niksar b'yom kosher. Vatnan. So here the Gemara brings a Mishnah in Megillah. Vatnan kol halayla kosher l'ktzira so'imer u'lahaktur chalavim ve'ivarim. It says in the Mishnah in Megillah that the entire night, a shout out to Molandy, who just made a siyum on Megillah as a magichir, which is huge. He took it to the next step. He prepared and gave shir, said it. So his Megillah. Kolalayla kosher l'ktiras ha'omer ulahaktur chalavim ve'ivar. So the entire night, you're supposed to go immediately after Havdalah, but guess what? Sometimes it takes time to find the field and this and that, and you went to the wrong place. So you have the entire night to cut the omer. And also, lahaktur chalavim ve'ivarim, we know, here let me just show you this, so you remember, every animal you put the imurim on the mizbeach, and that you could do all night. But Rashi says no. Rashi says a chiddush here that's referring to when the imurim fall off the mizbeach. The famous video that the Israelis love a lot. Im Allah lo yered. If it went on the mizbeach and it fell off, you're allowed to put it back on. So Rashi says we're talking about that. Why they discuss why Rashi says that when in fact you could just put it l'chatchila on. It's because you're not really supposed to put it on all night. Chacham made like a siyag, they stopped it. So we're referring to putting it back on. It says in the Mishnah. Something that the mitzvah is to do during the day, like shchita, zrika, it's only during the day. You cannot do shchita, you cannot throw the blood onto the mizbech at night. And something that the mitzvah is to do at night, you do at night. Just like something that if the mitzvah is during the day, you can't do at night. So something that's a night thing, so you shouldn't do during the day. So what's the kasha? It's a night mitzvah to cut the omer. You're supposed to cut it at night. So how could you tell me that you're allowed to do it during the day? Amar Rabba loikasha, it's a machlokes. Ha Rebbe, our Mishnah goes like Rebbe that you could do it during the day. V'ha Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon. Who's Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon? Rebbe Lazar, the son of the famous Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai. What is he famous for? He sat in the cave with his father for 13 years. He's killing people when he came out by mistake, just burning people to nothing, etc. So I'm saying it because the Gemara is soon going to say that Rebbe Lazar got it from Rebbe Shimon, his father. Rebbe Shimon got it from his Rebbe. Who's the famous Rebbe of Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai? Rebbe Akiva. Okay, so Rebbe Lazar, the son of Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai, says, no. You cannot cut this barley in the middle of the day. This is a night mitzvah. Says the Gemara, okay, yeah. The Tanya, if a person was bringing the mincha of the Omer to the Mizbeach, what time of the day do we bring the Omer to the Mizbeach? The daytime. V'nitmes, and we find out that it's Tameh, so you have two options. You could theoretically, you could put this mincha on the Mizbeach. Why? It's Tameh. You're not allowed to put Tameh on the Mizbeach. But we have a concept called Tuma Hutra B'tzibur. It's for the community, so I'm going to put it on the Mizbeach. But there's another thing. Since you could go ahead and get another one, so get another one. Why are you doing it? Why are you bringing a Tameh one? But the problem is it's the middle of the day. How are you going to get another one? You have to go harvest more barley, and you're not allowed to harvest during the day. Bring another one instead of it. And if you can't find another one, so you see from here that Rebbe holds what? That you could bring it during the day. You could harvest during the day. Because if I'm telling you go get another one, that means I'm telling you go harvest more barley and bring a new one. But if you don't have more barley, that's it, it's less barley in Eretz Yisrael. So I take the Tameh one and I put it on the Mizbeach and I tell him, if you're very smart, shut up, be quiet. Why? Why be quiet? Because I don't want people to know that you brought Tameh, because maybe next year they'll start bringing Tameh Karbanas without realizing that this was just after the fact. Dear Rabbi, they say in English, you get arrested. What's the famous line they say? Anything you say can and will be used against you, court of law, etc., etc. So my chassan teacher told me, he said, anything you tell your wife will be used against you. No, he didn't tell me. I just made that up. Will be used against you for the rest of your life. Be careful what you tell her and how you say it. I don't know if you had that. I had my chassan teacher. He taught me there's 3 things that you need to learn. 3, they're not words, they are sounds. You know the 3 sounds you need to have for your wife? He said it's aha, oy vey, and wow. He says all conversations, that's how you could really, it's amazing, like whatever she says, like if it's boring, whatever, aha. If it's like did you hear like the plane hit a fire truck and in LaGuardia, you go, oy vey. And if it's like, if you're supposed to be surprised, say, wow. So these are the 3 things that could keep your marriage alive, but be quiet, don't say anything, because the more you say, it says over here, just be smart and be quiet. Siag lachachma shtika, they say. It says in Avos. The smart people, the ones who you want to know chachma, you're quiet. Okay. Zog the Gemara, Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Shimon Omer, benkach ubenkach, Omer lo have a pikach ushtoik. Comes Rebbe Lazar and says, no, you got a problem here, my friend. You cannot harvest wheat in the middle of the day. And it's the middle of the day now. We just found out that it's tameh. You know what you do? You marker it. There's no other way out of this. You have to be marker it with the tumah, and you tell everybody, don't tell anybody it was tameh, shalom Yisrael. If you harvest it in the middle of the day, possible. Now we know what the sentence means. It says Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Lazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, is saying it like Rabbi Akiva, who happened to be his father's Rebbe, the Snan. Klal Omer Rabbi Akiva. So we know when there's a bris milah on Shabbos, bris is like Shabbos, milah mechal Shabbos. But how much? How much could you be mechal Shabbos? Is the male allowed to carry his knife from his house without an eruv to hear? Everybody knows the answer. Everybody's shaking their heads no. Why? Because Machshir is saying you could do it before. The mitzvah itself you can't do before. Boom. Now here's a question that we need to think about. Let's say you could do a mitzvah. It's pretty good. It's good mitzvah. Mamish, good. But if I could do it a little better, but I have to be Mechal Shabbos a little more. Could I be Mechal Shabbos a little more to do it a little better? What do you guys think?
For Yom Tov, you could. For Oichel Nefesh, you could shecht the cow the same day because it's not going to be, the meat's not going to be as fresh as the day before.
Yeah, but on Yom Tov, for all Oichel Nefesh with Mamish, like, there's no. I'm saying over here, it's Chil Shabbos. On a typical Shabbos, you're not allowed to do this. Let's say you're not allowed to cut someone on Shabbos. You're allowed to do a bris. But if he's Mechal Shabbos a little more, he opens up a vacuum cleaner and uses a vacuum. It could be even a better bris. You're allowed to do that.
Well, it seems like if it's for, let's say, Kohen, let's say for the Tzibur,
Yeah.
so maybe it would be allowed to be Doich Shabbos.
Why is that different?
Because you're doing it on
You mean for the tzibur will be Doich Shabbos more?
will be more like
Interesting. I don't think the Gemara doesn't say you're svar, but I hear it. It's interesting. Interesting thought. So let's see inside. This is the famous Rebbe Kiva that you guys all knew. It's not. It says in the Mishnah, Klal Omer Rebbe Kiva. Rebbe Kiva says a rule, a general rule. Kol malacha shev shalei la'as soisa merev Shabbos. Any malacha you could do before Shabbos, eino doiches Shabbos, does not push off Shabbos. V'savelah Rebbe Shmuel. And Rebbe Lazar holds like Rebbe Shmuel. Domar Ksir Soimer mitzvah. So since the Ksira of the Omer is a mitzvah, we're going to see there's an argument in it. But if you hold that harvesting with the tractor is a mitzvah, so that would push off Shabbos. It's not Rebbe Shmuel Omer. Becharish Rishus, Avkatzer Rishus. There's no concept in the Torah that plowing is a mitzvah. There's no mitzvah in the Torah in anywhere to plow. So the same thing would apply to harvesting. There's no mitzvah in the Torah to harvest besides one place. Avkatzer Rishus. So we don't find a mitzvah to harvest. Yatzak Tzir Haimer Shi mitzvah. To harvest for the Omer, that is a mitzvah. But if you're telling me that I could do this in the daytime, so just do it in the day. Why do you have to push off Shabbos and do it at night and do it on Shabbos? You should harvest it before Shabbos, and then you don't have to be harvested. Just like you tell the Moel to carry his knife before Shabbos. So do the harvesting before Shabbos. From here you see that if the reason why it pushes off Shabbos is because you cannot do it Erev Shabbos, you can do it Erev Shabbos during the day, and it's possible if you're doing it during the day. As the Gemara, Rebbe lav Talmidei de Reb Shimon. I don't understand. Rebbe is a Talmud of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. And therefore, he should also say, like Reb Shimon Bar Yochai's Rebbe Kiva. In other words, they all have traditions. Nobody makes up their own thing. So Rebbe, who learned by Reb Shimon, is no different than Rebbe Lazar, who learned by his father Reb Shimon, and they should be in the same team. But Tanya, listen to this. How do I know Rebbe is Reb Shimon's Talmud? There's a place called Tekaya. They were learning Torah there. It was on Shabbos, and Reb Shimon was going to the mikvah or whatever it was, and we had to get him a towel, we had to get him shampoo. So how do you get shampoo to the Rebbe on Shabbos? So when you have two chatzeros next to each other, 2 yards next to each other, are you allowed to carry from one to the other? So we hold that you're supposed to make a Eruv Chatzeres. And by the way, that happens right now when we do it once a year, Erev Pesach. Mamish is all in Yom Dayam, it's all coming together. Erev Pesach. Ooh, I forgot to tell the Israelis. Remind me on Amid Beis. Hopefully I remember myself here. I don't want to ruin. Unbelievable. Okay. So Reb Shimon holds that you don't really need an Erev Chatzeres. If the item is in the Chatzer, you just move it from one Chatzer to the other. So what they would do is they would take the shampoo and the towel from rooftop to rooftop. They would do parkour from one roof to the other, boom, boom, boom. And like this, they avoided the whole area of business and they brought it into the Mayon. How do you say Mayon in English? No. Spring, into the spring, into the spring. So, Akopanim, you see that he's Reb Shimon's Talmud. Let's just see what they have here. Here we go. Oh, first let me show you what a karfef is. Karfef just means it's like a large chutzner that holds stuff, but it's not really a chutzner because it has other stuff. What do I want to show you? This. The characters here are so...
I am stuck without food for Shabbos.
I've got you covered.
You know what Yechavi is? He's a zaftige chassid.
Oh my God, I forgot the eruv.
He doesn't say a word, he just eats. Okay. So it's megag, the karfef. It's more like the fact that it's private property from gag to gag. Now I don't think it's because of the 10 tefachim above Rosh Hashanah. Because karfef is not 10 tefachim above. Says the Gemara. Sover law kidduch Reb Shimon. You're right. He happens to be a Talmud of Reb Shimon, but he holds like something else that Reb Shimon said. The side you Reb Shimon. Boyrei kama chaviva mitzvah b'shaita. Pay attention how much mitzvah in the right time is. Shari hektar chalavim veivarim ksherim kol halayla. You know what? This is a good time just to press another button to get more of these nasty emails. The mitzvah of davening bizman is very important. You know, we have zman tefillah. Like, it seems like some people just forget about the Zman Tefillah. Like, look in the calendar and tell you that to say Shemona Esrei after 10:30, whatever the time is. What time is Zman Tefillah in Miami? Let's see. Can you look it up? But it's like, Chaviva, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves mitzvahs in the right time. What mashal am I about to say? Daf Yomi. What do you have there? What does it say? 10:24. No way, I just made it up. I said 10:30, I threw it out. I had no idea what time. 10:24. So past 10:24, a person shouldn't be davening. You know, it's just like it's not okay to say Shemona Esrei at 10:25. It's just not only that, like you have to like finish Shemona Esrei, I believe, by 10:24. But anyway, Zman Kriyashma, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's what I just said. Zman Tefillah. Zman Tefillah is 10:24. Zman Kriyashma, I have no idea. What time is Zman Kriyashma according to the Gra? 9:49? Okay. Wow. They're very close.
9:48.
Okay. But listen, the Daf Yomi also, it's very, very important to do the Daf, that day's Daf. The Chaviva, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves when you do it. But if you don't. Yeah, you got to make it up. So, Chaviva, kama Chaviva mitzvah shayda. Sharei hektar chalav ve'varim ksherim kol halayla. You could bring the imurim onto the mizbeach the entire night. Yet, even though you could do it the whole night, do it right there on Shabbos, be Michal Shabbos. Any carbon you bring on Shabbos, like a carbon musaf, so you do your Michal Shabbos. Why? Because it's better to do it right then and there than to wait until the night, even though it's okay at night. Now, if I'm in Beis, I'm in the Beis. Let me just say this, I don't forget. Turning of the daf. Whoa, we're down to one turner of the daf. Adar Global, experts in cross-border payments. Yisher Koyach. Says the Gemara, Reb Elazar, Reb Shimon, Lo Shamia. Lo Shamia. What? Reb Elazar, Reb Shimon didn't hear this halach that his own father said. El Shani Hasam. Listen to this. Shari Dochsa Shchita Shabbos. So the Gemara says a big a big chiddush here that the difference is when you already push off Shabbos with your shechita, then you can go ahead and bring the imurim onto the mizbeach. You already pushed off Shabbos. You hear? Shabbos is already pushed off for this cup, so then you continue pushing it off. But by the oimer, to go ahead and to harvest it for the first time on Shabbos, that we don't have a heter. Some Sofer learns an amazing halach from this. You and I wouldn't be able to come up with this. But he says that you see from here that once something is kind of pushed off, and that you could continue with that averos, so to speak. So a person who's in avelos and he's allowed to get married in his avelos, so once he's allowed to get married, we allow him to get a haircut, he says. The haircut part. He's in the shloishim, let's say, and he's not supposed to get a haircut the 30 days. He's allowed to get married. Oh, so you already pushed off, the Torah already allows him to get married. Okay, so he could also get a haircut. So
isn't it the same thing with the Kuf Nefesh? The one where Shabbos is completely pushed off, or whether it's
Hutra, yeah. This is that's the discussion actually in our sugya. I'm not getting into it, but is Shabbos Hutra or Shabbos is D'chuya in this case? It makes the nafkaminas, but Hutra just means that it's completely allowed. It doesn't mean that now you could be Mechal Shabbos and 10 other things. I had that story. A person, they're no longer alive, but they were very, very sick, and they had to do treatment on Shabbos. So they're driving to the hospital. So once they're driving to the hospital, they went around the neighborhood and they went to visit their kid. I'm like, I didn't want to say anything to them because they're dying and whatever, but it just was not comfortable watching because they're really religious people, but I don't know that they knew the nuances. They took it like, yeah, hutra. I'm already in a car, so what's the big deal if I go that way, this way? It's literally what we just spoke about the other day, about the guy going to a Shalom Zachar in Yerushalayim, and he had no idea. He's telling it to us like this. Not only that, my chavrusa, like when I brought it up to him, he's like, oh yeah, and I didn't know. I was saying it in shir, but the Hatzalah guys knew, and they were like, wait a minute, there's a problem with tchum, there's a problem with this, we are makbid on this, we don't do that. Even a Shalom Zachar in the actual hospital, we don't go to. Anyway, I said it in the English here? Okay. Shalom Zachar thing. Yeah. In the hospital. Shkoyach. It's right there. Zok the Gemara. Oh. Elo Kosova Rebbe, listen to this. Here's the big bomb. Mamish a bomb. It's going to shake everything up here. There is something, a concept of pushing off Shabbos for the Omer, but not the harvesting, not the tractor going through the field, burning it on the Mizbeach, it pushes off Shabbos, but not the harvest. Ask the Gemara 3-4 questions now that are all the same answer. What? Rebbe doesn't hold that the harvesting pushes off the Shabbos. Even on Shabbos, there are 3 people harvesting. Says Gemara, they're like Rebbe. It doesn't go according to Rebbe, you're right. But it says, it's 3 boxes. It says in the Mishnah, there are 3 sickles on Shabbos. They're like Rebbe. Shabbos, it also says, Shabbos Zu. They scream, he screams. What's the gears I see? They change the gears there. He says to the people around, remember there's people in the paranchas. They brought all the people to watch, and they scream out, is it Shabbos today? And they say, yes, it's Shabbos. And they continue reaping, they harvest the field. The like, Rebbe, it doesn't go according to Rebbe. If it was, what do we do with this? It says that if he harvests during the day, it's kosher. Now we have a big problem, because it says that it pushes off Shabbos, and you could reap it during the day. That's the only person who says that you can reap during the day. We had a machlokes. What's the machlokes? Rebbe and Reb Shimon bar Yochai's son, Reb Elazar. Reb Shimon bar Elazar's son says you cannot reap during Shabbos, during the day. And Rebbe says you could reap during the day, you could harvest during the day. But the same line says, Niktzar b'yom kosher, you could reap during the day, v'doiches Shabbos, it pushes off Shabbos. We just said, according to Rebbe, Tzira does not push off Shabbos. So we have a little bit of a problem. Rebbe, it's Rebbe. In the same sentence, it says it does push off Shabbos. My love, Tzira. He's talking about harvesting. When he says that it pushes off Shabbos, it's not referring to the first part of the sentence. It's referring to something completely different. You're allowed to harvest during the day, and you're allowed to put it on the mizbeach on Shabbos. Two different halachas. But not you can't harvest on Shabbos. By the way, which one was it? Yeah, not this pasuk. Oh yeah, here. Right. Okay. The famous pasuk. In other words, what's the chiddush here? All the Yom Tovim that the Moshe Rabbeinu was talking about in the parasha are all from Moshe and from Hashem. So why does it say again? The Pesach. We only know that the carbon Talmud pushes off Shabbos and Tumah, and so the carbon Pesach also. It's unbelievable. We're learning a lot about Pesach recently. It says by both the carbon Talmud and carbon Pesach, from the word b'mayadoi I learned that it pushes off Shabbos, it pushes off Tumah. If the kohen is Tameh, it's okay, keep on going. How do you know other communal karbanos? How do you know that the Omer pushes off Shabbos and Tumah? Here it says before Omer pushes off Shabbos. That all these karbanos, the Shtei HaLechem and the Omer, are like the carbon Talmud that pushes off Shabbos and Tumah. Let's think about it. If it's talking about to put it on Mizbeach, it can't be. Why? Because Shtei HaLechem b'nei Akrav Shtei HaLechem doesn't. You don't put it on Mizbeach. The Kohanim eat it. So it can't be talking about that. It must be talking about harvesting. L'pshito or something else. L'pshito, the Tchin of Arkada. It's talking about grinding and sifting. And Memela, it's talking about harvesting for the Omer. Because it's a Shabbos. It's mufurish that it pushes off Shabbos. Loi. We must say Omer la'akrava. We're talking about not grinding and not harvesting. We're talking about putting it on the mizbeach and to bake it. Says Gemara, Rebbe Taner Mekadosh, and Rebbe holds that when you put the breads into the oven, they assume kedusha by putting it into the oven. Just like when you put oil into klishars, what happens? It becomes kaddish. When you put the breads into the oven, they become kaddish. Here, like this. Just putting it in the oven makes it kaddish. Oh, so Memela, since Rebbe holds that putting in the oven becomes kaddish, so here's the big problem. If you put the breads into the oven and if you bake it the day before, we have a major problem because then it would be puzzled with lina. Therefore, you have to. It's doicha Shabbos. You have to do it today. Again, why does baking push off Shabbos? Because if you bake it the day before Shabbos, you bake it on Friday. By the time Shabbos comes around, it's too old. It's puzzled. It's lina. So Mela pushes off Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Rebbe Taner Mekadosh. Does Rebbe really hold, in fact, that the oven gives kedusha to the bread? It says it's not the oven that gives the kedusha. What gives the kedusha? Shechting the two sheep. Keitzad. What's the case? Shchata. Listen to this. It's very simple. Let's just say balpeh. If you do everything right, you do the shchita and the zrika with the proper intent, l'shma, perfect. If you do everything without the proper intent, the shchita and the zrika, terrible. What if you do 101? Do shchita with the proper intent, but the zrika not? So the bread is kaddish and not kaddish. Listen to this. Okay, it's just a lot of words. I wanted to explain it balpeh. It's like almost confusing. There's so many words. Shchatan l'shman, you do the shchita l'shma. V'zarek dam l'shma, you do the zrika l'shma. What's the halacha? Kaddish alechem. Then that gives kedusha to the bread, not the oven. The shchita, the zrika. Shchatan shalei l'shma, v'zarek shidam shalei l'shma. You did both not good. That's the complete katzel katz, the opposite. Like there's no kedusha. What if you did 1 and 1? Shchatim l'shma, the shchita was l'shma. Bezark don't shaloi l'shma, but the zrik was not. Halom kaddish v'ene kaddish. It's dirim Rebbe. It's kaddish and not kaddish. Akopanim, you see from here that the tanur is not mekadosh. What's mekadosh the bread? The shchita is mekadosh the bread.
What does that mean? It's kaddish.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. It has we let's go back here. Daf Mem Zayin Amud Beis. I should have looked it up. Huh? Yeah, no, we said it over there. It means it's kaddish for a certain thing. Let's see. My kaddish v'eni. Abayim kaddish v'eni gomer. Right, we had a machlokes that the two breads are not kaddish. That it's kaddish, but the two breads are not. Rav Amar kaddish v'eni niter. It's kaddish, but it's just you can't eat it. And my benayu, the Gemara over there, my benayu limitless pidyanai. Can when you redeem it, does the kedusha occur to the money? Okay. Zok the Gemara. Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Shimon Omer, Lo'ilo meni kaddish at sheyishchoid l'shman v'yizrok daman l'shman. Rebbe Lazar says no. If you do half and half, there's nothing. You have to do both. You have to do zrika and shchita, l'shma, and then the bread becomes kaddish. Akopanim, you see that it's the shchita and not the oven. Omer Reb Nachman Bar Yitzchak hukbu v'lo hukbu k'amar. You're right. The shchita gives it a kvios. It tells you these two breads are connected to these two sheep. Now you can't change sheep, you can't change breads. They're connected. But what gives the kedusha to the bread is the oven. That's what gives it the kedusha. Hadran alach Rabbi Shmuel, Hadran alach Rabbi Shmuel, Hadran alach Rabbi Shmuel. Says the Mishnah, Ve'idu menachos nikmatzos v'shireim l'kayin. These are the menachos that when you take the kmitza, you go like this, you take 3 fingers, you put that on the mizbeach, but all the rest you can eat. So here we have a list of the 10. Let's see if we recognize these, right? We spoke about them a lot. The minchas soilos, minchas machvas, minchas marcheshes. The difference between a machvas and marcheshes is the same thing, just one is a flat frying pan, one is a deep, so there's more oil in the deep. It's the same amount of oil, but it stays longer and it makes it softer. Chalis or rikikin, which is important for later on in the Gemara in 3 minutes, that the chalis and rikikin are kind of interchangeable. Minchas akom, the mincha of a guy, minchas nashim of women, minchas ha'omer is what we're discussing about a lot now. Minchas chayta, the sinner, he has a carbon oil of yard. That's another thing you could ask people. Someone that doesn't do Daf Yomi, ask him what's a minchas oil of yard, right? What's a minchas oil of yard? What does it mean? I got to tell you guys. So you know at least. You don't ask the question I know. Minchas, you know what oil of yard is? What does that mean? What, you saw the video? It goes up and down? No. It means that if a person is wealthy, he brings an expensive carbon, it brings a sheep. If he's less wealthy, poor. If he's poor, he brings a bird. And if he's super duper poor, he brings flour. So says the Mishnah, Velu menachos nikmatzos. These are the menachos that the shiurim, the kohanim get to eat the rest. Minchas hasoilos, v'amachas v'marcheshes, v'achaz v'rikikin, minchas goy, minchas nashim, minchas ha'omer, we said it all. U'minchas chayta, u'minchas knois. What's a minchas knois? That's the one I didn't say. That's the mincha of the saita. Interesting. Number 7 and number 10 is the same picture, right? Let's see on this screen. Maybe it has better. It's literally the same thing. Oh, one is smiling and one is not. Oh, that her lips are different. Yeah. What is going on here? Okay, they're sisters. Rabbi Shimon Omer minchas choyte shel kohanim nikmetzes. You see, I couldn't see that. On my screen, I couldn't see the difference. It's too small. But here you can see now that I zoomed in, you can see the lips are different. Okay. Rabbi Shimon Omer. Oh, wow, we just hit the hour point. Okay. not great. Rabbi Shimon Oimer, Minchas Chodesh HaKohanim Nikmetzes, the mincha of a sinner, of a kohen sinner, you do kmitza. Of a kohen's karev latzma, v'shirayim karev latzma, you cannot eat the shirayim, you have to put it on the mizbeach. Omer HaPapa, let's just say this. Omer HaPapa, kaleichad etnan, ezer etnan. Anytime that we talk about, and we had this twice already, but in a slightly different variation, there's always 10 menachos as you see on the screen. Michael Mashmalan, what, you counting the ones in the Mishnah? We know how to count. Because Rabbi Shimon holds that you can mix up number 4 and number 5. In other words, if you promise to bring the chalois, you're allowed to bring chalois, or do 4 chalois and 6 rikikin, or 2 rikikin and 8 chalois. You can mix the 2. So memela, now it's another number. It's its own carbon. There's one carbon is chalois, one carbon is rikikin, and a third one is chalois and rikikin. Kamashmalan that you cannot do it, Reb Shimon says, there's only 10 on the list, not 11. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.